This story is about a beginning, the re-beginning of a dream.
Outside to outside.
33 inches outside to outside. Okay, so 2 feet of post in the ground.
Yes. Take a pencil, make a mark at 48 inches.
And so here the project begins. And in this particular episode of the video, I'm on the ground trying to get the fence attached to the post at the bottom of this corner. And here in this time lapse, I'm trying to level out where the T-posts need to be by using a string. This was not an easy task, but a very important task. Even with all of these measures, this row actually was very straight, but then the next row that I started kind of was more diagonal than it was straight. But it was what it was, and it serves a wonderful purpose today. And I wish that as this looks, it was a very quick process. It wasn't. It was extremely hot, and I was doing this after my day job of working at the poultry farm, but nothing could stop me. I knew I had a deadline. My goats were going to be ready sometime in September, and this was end of July and a good portion of August. And there were some days that I could not work. It was so hot. I just couldn't get out there. And some of my posts weren't tall enough. But I used what I had and made it work. The fence that I was using was a recycled fence. A friend of mine was taking down a fence to put up a new horse fence, and asked me if I wanted to come and take down the fence that he had or help him. And I said, of course. And I did. And we got the fence down, rolled it up, and I brought it home. And I used what I had been given. You know, when I said that this was a re-beginning of a dream, I had no idea when I sat down probably 6 months before this and had a little talk with God and just said, you know, what do I do now? My kids are grown. They're both married and have families of their own. And what do I do? I'm restarting. And God clearly said to me, well, you know, you helped them with their dreams. I helped you to help them with their dreams. What are your dreams? Well, I knew clearly what my dreams were before my restart had to happen. So I really had not taken time to sit down and think, well, what do I want? For the rest of my life, what do I want? And the only thing that clearly came to mind was the fact that I had always wanted goats. And of course, being a practical person and frugal, I knew that the goats that I would have to be, I knew that the goats that I would get would have to be multi-purposed. I would get to enjoy having them, but they would need to serve a purpose. And I chose Nubian dairy goats because I knew that they would produce milk. And the more that I researched the different breeds, I decided that this was the breed for me. I knew from my research that I could make some other products using the milk. I could make cheese. I could definitely drink the milk. And I could make soap and maybe some other beauty products with the milk. And being the person that I am, I love to do research and I love to do things I've never done before. I see them as a challenge, but not just a challenge, but something to make me more complete in who I am. I firmly believe that we were all put here for a purpose designed by God. And I knew that if I followed what this dream was stirring up inside of me, that I would get closer to the dream that God had put in me. This wasn't just my dream. It was the dream that God dreamed for me. And when you work toward the dream that God gave you, it is just so much more rewarding. And it does take hard work, as you can see, when God puts us on a mission and we are seeking Him, we then seek the dream He has for us. And it takes hard work. So I'm not afraid of hard work. I've always worked hard. Maybe not quite this hard before, but it was all worth it. I can tell you that. The joy that I get to experience every day when I go out to feed my animals doesn't compare to anything else that I have in my life or had in my life at that time. And once this work began, then God's plan became so much more revealed to me. You know, He has for us great things in mind always. But first we just have to figure it out ourselves. He could just whisper in our ears and in our hearts exactly the full vision that He has for us. But being human, we would doubt Him. So we have to take little segments of it at a time. And when He gives those little things to us a little at a time, it seems manageable. It seems doable. But we have to move. We can't just sit and wait for God's plan to fall on our doorstep. We have to work toward it. Now, as you can see, this fence is coming together. I've made it 2 rows, I think, or 2 lanes. And I'm getting down to the 3rd corner. And I'm sorry, this looks I was probably carrying the camera to a different spot. And here I am putting the post and setting the fence. I had no idea how to do that. But I just prayed and said, God, help me do this. I need to be able to do this. And it just came about. I just kept working and it came about. And it may not be perfect. And I'm sure that there are some fence builders out there who are going, oh my gosh, she did this the hard way and she could have done it so much easier. And why didn't she ask for help? And but I just did it. God and I had long talks while this was going on, and I firmly believe that when you're working on a mission with God and you're constantly talking with Him, He'll show you the way and you get closer and closer to Him. And in this portion of the video, I purchased I guess a dog pen, I guess is what it was, at a yard sale. And it was the kind that was 2 together. And I took those 2 and put them together to make one. And I had harvested this tin from the poultry farm where I work. There was a windstorm that came about, and a lot of the pieces had to be replaced, and the old pieces were on the ground. And I got them and brought them home. And I thought to myself, well, I'm sure I will eventually need these because they've been provided for me, and had no idea that this was what would happen. But I put them to work, and again, it was not easy work. These were long, long pieces that had to be cut, and I just took them and wrapped them around the far end and made a makeshift roof on the top, and it worked. Still there. It's kind of leaning at this point. We do hope to rebuild a pen for them, for the goats, soon. But I knew that my goats were going to be bred, or at least one of them was, and I was going to have to need shelter for them for the cold winter that would come. And it sure did come, and we had one goat to give birth to twins. And at this point, I had no idea what was coming. None of us do. But I made a lot of hard work happen, and just there were times that it was frustrating, but I just kept going and got it done. And sometimes my camera didn't work, so I just had still shots of getting this done. Excuse me. And there it is. I was probably thinking there, this is not straight. These are my first 2 goats. They love playing in that brush. This is Dahlia and her yearling, Aspen. I just love them. I was so blessed. And still am blessed. Silly Dahlia. And now I have more goats. And someone special who helps me a lot now. I don't have to work by myself anymore. And he loves my animals probably more than I do, but I'm not going to say that out loud. This is one of my first. The brown goat is Storm. And that is Martha. And the little black goat is her little yearling, Wither. And they were little rescues from friends that gifted them to me. Storm and Chance love to play together. And I have these are Nigerian dwarf goats, and they were just too small to put in all together with the bigger goats. So I have them sectioned off with an electric fence. inside the main fence, and so far it's working great. Thanks for watching, guys. I pray that God blesses you with dreams, unmeasurable dreams.